Hello, I'm Olga Tamanova, and I welcome all of you who has joined us today in Media Center Ukraine of Ukrinform. We are beginning our work. This is the 211th day of the heroic resistance of Ukrainian people, and I'd like today to begin our day with the congratulation of all of the Ukrainians with the comeback of 215 of our heroes back home. I congratulate us with this event, and I think that all of us are very happy with this victory. Now, in a nutshell about the schedule today, at 12 p.m. we'll be online with Fedor Venislavsky, representative of the President of Ukraine to Verkhovna Rada, the Parliament of Ukraine. We'll be speaking about the partial mobilization in Russia, what will change, how will the situation change in the front line, and what mobilization means for us, for the Ukrainians. At 1 p.m. we will be joined by Volodymyr Matsokin, Deputy Mayor of Izum, and we will be speaking about the situation now in the liberated Izum. And just now I'd like to introduce you our speakers: Natalya Naumenko, Head of the State Migration Service of Ukraine, and Mykola Rudyk, Head of the Main Service Center of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine. We'll be speaking about the work of these services, and we'll be speaking about the new services which the Ukrainians would be able to get. Please, Natalia, the floor is yours. Hello, dear journalists, hello, dear viewers. I would like to inform you, in a nutshell, that really this is the day to congratulate you with today, because we are celebrating one of the victories when our defenders have come back to Ukraine. So maybe it's very easy to speak about the news which our migration service has. I'd like to inform you how we are working on the deoccupied territories, how we are planning to work on the deoccupied territories, and how do we plan and go on providing our services for the citizens who are on the territory of Ukraine and the EU countries and other countries of the world. I'd like to begin with the following. When our defenders are liberating the territories, the first thing which we would like to see is the normal work of all of the civil services. In this service, Migration Service is doing something as well. Today I can tell that we have fully launched the work of the units which were located at the front line with the deoccupied territories: Kharkiv region, Zmiev unit, Chuhuyev unit, which are already working to the full extent. Our employees have come back there, they've connected the communications channels, and they already register the first documents for our citizens, the documents which were lost or which were damaged. And of course we launched the work of our unit in Pervomaisk Department of Migration Service. I wouldn't say that it's an easy thing to begin the work at the front line of deoccupation and in the deoccupied regions, but we understand how important it is for our citizens to have the documents, because this is the first step to get all the social services which they couldn't get for a long time: the pension, the social provision, the opportunity to find job, the access to schools, to kindergartens, to higher educational institutions, and so on and so forth. That is why the Migration Service has done and is doing everything possible for the documents which our citizens should have, which would witness that they are citizens of Ukraine. Those are the ID cards and the foreign passports, to be issued in a timely manner and with a high quality. Of course, we are working and cooperating with our security units. This is the State Emergency Service, the National Police, because we understand that whatever could be mined was mined, unfortunately. So we, as a civil body, have to stick to comply with some of the security rules. The State Emergency Service is the first to come to the territories. They're checking for the explosions, and then the employees of the Migration Service are coming there. Also, we are planning to launch our services at the deoccupied territories. First of all, Balaklia and Shevchenkove of Kharkiv region, Kharkiv Oblast. We have been there, and you have seen the reports which were done from those units. So now the main problem is the lack of power. First of all, because power is necessary to connect our equipment, our communication systems, and to launch our database to the full extent. But we are also finding the ways out of this situation. We provide our Kharkiv unit with the mobile bus, and we are constantly in touch with the military administration. If necessary, our mobile bus will go there. That is Balaklia and Shevchenkova will create the Starlink system there and also provide the services which are necessary for our citizens if necessary and according to the request of the military administration. This is the work conducted by the Migration Service at the line between the deoccupied and liberated territories. And what worries our citizens who are now abroad and who are facing the issues since the first days of the war, when they had to leave without any documents, using the copies of the documents, when they had to bring their children with them without any papers, they faced the situation that to register some of the services they should still need some of the documents. In this case, the unprecedented measures of the government were taken by the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the State Migration Service. So since the 9th of June, we began our work in Warsaw. This is the first region where we have the representation office of the Migration Service through the State Enterprise document and where we worked in the mobile buses, and now we are working in the totally brick and stone centers, and we can conveniently provide services for our citizens. The request, the demand is just crazy. During 2 months, we've registered more than 25,000 documents. We understand that sometimes even to register in the EQ seems to be an impossible task because it is for 2 or 3 months ahead, knowing the demand, because the citizens from all of the EU countries are going to Warsaw, not only from Poland. They try to restore the documents, they register the new documents if the expiration date has come, to have the acting passports of the citizens of Ukraine. So today we create our capacities in Wrocław, Gdansk and Krakow, and according to the consent of the Ministry of Interior, we are developing our representation office in Turkey, I hope Germany, Czech Republic and Slovakia. Those are our ambitious plans because we understand that all of our citizens who are temporarily, I emphasize temporarily, located on the territory of the EU need to have documents with the help of which they can find job, get some services, and to have the whole spectre of protection by the Ukrainian state. But that's not it, because we are going on to expand the services which are provided by the Migration Service, the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs on the territory of Ukraine, for our citizens to have the opportunities not only to have the valid ID cards and foreign passports, but also other documents which are issued by the authorities of Ukraine. And here I'm giving the floor to my colleague from the Service Center for him to tell more what is taking place on the territory and in Poland and how we will work and will provide the full spectre for our citizens, and then I'd happily answer all of the questions which could emerge. Thank you. Thank you, Natalya. Mykola, please. Hello. Thanks to the cooperated work of the Service Center and the State Migration Service of the State Enterprise document, we gave the opportunity to exchange the driver's license in Warsaw. How is it happening? How is it taking place? Any citizen of Ukraine can apply physically, being in Warsaw, to the departments of the State Migration Service, that is the State Enterprise document, submitting the documents to, for instance, replace or exchange the driver's certificate. You can do that if, for instance, your data has changed. For instance, the lady could change her surname, or the expiration date came, or it could be damaged. Maybe some of the personal data is not read. So physically, the documents are considered in Warsaw. They are sent by the email channels to Kyiv. We check it here remotely, the opportunity to exchange the driver's certificate, we approve it, and in the end the status is given to the employee of the state enterprise document. During the day of the application, the driver from Ukraine can get the new driver's certificate in Warsaw. I emphasize, it is done during one day. During one day, the driver's certificate is printed directly by the experts, the employees of the State Migration Service, using the printers and the forms of the driver's certificates, which we have prepared beforehand and gave to our colleagues. The work time of these institutions is correspondent to the hours of work of our territorial departments of the Ministry of Interior in Kyiv. So the schedule and the working hours are coinciding, as well as the opportunity to get the service. I emphasize, the territorial service centers of the Ministry of Interior are working from Tuesday to Friday, from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. On Saturday they work from 9 a.m. till 4:45 p.m. Which documents you need to exchange the driver's certificate? Which recommendations I can give to our citizens who are now in Europe? This is the ID card and the identification tax code, or maybe the passport as a book, I mean the previous paper form. You don't need any other documents, just the older driver's certificate and the medical certificate during the war. We simplified this process, we just cancelled the necessity of the medical certificate. So this is the minimum package of documents, the speed of the service which is provided by our colleagues, and the rapidness of getting the driver's certificate in Warsaw. I emphasize, as of today, we can replace or exchange the driver's certificate. We don't restore it if it was lost or stolen. Yes, we are working on that as well so far, together with our colleagues from the State Migration Service. We offer further on to delegate those authorities to restore the driver's certificates. Not just in Warsaw, but in other departments of the state enterprise document. Those are our ambitious plans. We can see the huge demand among our citizens in Warsaw. It is dynamically increasing. I do understand that there are some complications about registration to the queue and so on, but still we report that really we can see a very successful implementation of our common project. Mykola, could you please tell, Natalya just told that they plan to open their services, launch their services in Turkey, in Germany. Do you plan to launch your services there as well? Yes, really, there is no difference which country it is. Looking at Poland example, at the example of the city of Warsaw, we plan to provide these services together in other countries. The mechanism will be similar. It will be simple and transparent, and all the information which will be given by the citizens in any country will be digitalized and sent by the protected channels of communication for the full decision taken about the opportunity to issue any document, not only driver's certificate. I thank you, Natalya. Then the question is to you. What's the dynamic of the issue of foreign passports? Mykola? Please don't leave, because I guess there will be questions for you as well. What's the dynamics? How did it change during the full-scale invasion? Well, you know, we can't say that the dynamics of the issue of foreign passport has changed. Yes, the demand is deviating. Maybe in winter it was lower, in summer it's higher, because now it's stabilizing. And we are not going beyond our usual request of the forms for the production, for the manufacturing of foreign passport. The logistics is changing, because during the previous briefing we already said that for this year all of the logistical ways were cut out, which were broken or damaged for the delivery of the materials to produce foreign passports and the produced foreign passports. We tried to reform ourselves with the State Migration Service, with the law enforcement agencies. This was the quest which we went along since February till today. And I consider it to be more or less successful. Yes, we can state the fact that there is some dynamics of the debt, or maybe we cannot produce the foreign passports as quick as we used to, but yesterday I was looking through the statistical data. It is improving. We don't have any issues with the ID cards now. Both urgent one and the usual mode are done in a timely manner defined by the legislation. There is the delay with the foreign passports, but still the dynamics really is improving, so I hope that during the next month or two we will get to the speed which is already correspondent to the terms defined in the legislation. There are also some of the logistic issues with the delivery of the produced passports abroad to Warsaw, but with the help of our Polish colleagues, our Slovakian colleagues who are working with us at the border, soon these issues will be solved and they will be delivered very rapidly because we have some of the developments in this sphere. Thank you, dear colleagues. Are there any questions, please? Thank you. Vitaly Holod, Ukrinform. Natalya, you've mentioned about 25,000 applications to get documents in Warsaw. Do you know how many documents were lost by our citizens because of the war? And if this is the full figure, 25,000, how many of them are from Poland? How many maybe came from other countries? Do you have such data? Are those just passports, driver's licenses, or maybe any other documents? Well, first of all, we don't have the statistical data who came from where. We just communicate with our citizens in the queues or with the help of Facebook that they're coming to Warsaw to get the documents from different countries. There's no difference where the citizens are coming from. We are grateful to everybody who is coming to us. They can come from any country to register Ukrainian documents. This is the most important thing. 25,000 documents are registered only on the territory of the Republic of Poland, which are not done in Ukraine so far. Out of them, among them, more than 19,000 are foreign passports and more than 1,000 are ID cards. And again, we have different volumes of our Ukrainian papers. These could be only ID cards or only foreign passports, or this could be both the ID card and the foreign passport. We offer this option for our citizens, and we are really happy when they use this option. Well, I don't think that any authority can answer the question how many documents were lost, stolen, burnt, or destroyed, because the war is still ongoing. This is the hard process, and people pay attention to the documents which they lost. This is the last thing they do when they flee. Only then they see that they lack something and that they need to re-register some document. So we don't have such a statistical figure. But as for the driver's licenses, if I'm not mistaken, we are working for about 2 or 3 weeks together with our colleagues on that. So 166 documents have been registered, I mean driver's licenses, which have been issued. As it was mentioned, they're registered and issued during the day. The process of application is done during one day. The person can have coffee or tea because we really have convenient conditions to work there. We are really grateful for our Polish partners for that. And the person can get any documents which are necessary. And again, maybe there can be some problems with the delivery of the ID cards and foreign passports to the territory of Poland because they are sent about twice a month. But still, we are trying to solve this issue for it to be as quick as possible. Any other questions? Natalya, I can't help asking you how the service provision has changed, for instance, the certificate for permanent residence and citizenship for the citizens of Russia and Belarus. We knew that these services were suspended. Has anything changed now? Well, look, I will try to be frank with you, because we are very emotionally perceiving this category of foreigners, the citizens of Russian Federation, sometimes a bit too much. We try to still calm ourselves down, because we are just an authority which needs to provide services. As for the citizens of Belarus, nothing has changed in the legislation. Together with the law enforcement, we are trying to check any country which is supporting the aggressor country, and it's not only Belarus, other countries as well. We are trying to check them if they are posing a threat for Ukraine or not, and what they will do with these documents which the authorities of Ukraine are issuing. Another point here are the citizens of Russian Federation, which the procedures with which were really suspended. There were long negotiations with our colleagues and stipulations what we can do to perform and to work with this category of persons. I can tell now that the government has several important documents, acts now, which I hope soon will be adopted, because they already went through all of the committees of the government. There will be some of the restrictions for some categories of the citizens of Russian Federation who are trying to register documents here. For some of them, nothing will change. For instance, if they have documents on marriage, on children, that the children were born on the territory of Ukraine. But in any case, I'd like to assure you, the citizens of Russian Federation have to get through the maximum deep check of our law enforcement authorities. And I think this is the right and just thing to do, for us to be sure that we are providing security for our country and for our citizens from any undesired categories of foreigners. As of the deoccupied territories, we can see that now the armed forces of Ukraine are working powerfully. The territories are being liberated. We are happy with that. But still we understand that on the territories there were some of the residents of Ukraine who were forcefully getting passports of Russia. What are their actions? Do they have to get to your structural unit and give away this passport? Maybe to refuse to have it? We haven't worked with that, so what do we do then? There should be the common briefing with the law enforcement authorities to speak about that. From our service, I can only tell that the citizens who really got these documents and which were forced to get these documents and which were verified in the migration service and the law enforcement authorities, and it was registered that those were the forced issued documents, they are not taken to liability for taking such documents, because their life was at stake. So about them, there are no any other questions. Another issue are the citizens who were cooperating with the law enforcement authorities of the aggressor country or with the collaborators, the so-called collaborators. Here we open the criminal case. The court proceedings are necessary. This is what we'll have to live through, and it will be complicated. Now we create the algorithms together with the law enforcement, how we should conduct verification measures. I think that this is the work of the law enforcement authorities. The State Migration Service can only help them, because we have this certain package of documents which can find out whether those actions can be done or not. But the process will be ongoing. It will be hard, but it has to be done. I thank you. I remind you, we had Natalya Naumenko, head of the State Migration Service, and Mykola Rudyk, head of the main service center of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I thank you that you joined us today, that you found time. Dear colleagues, our next briefing will take place at 12 p.m. We'll be in touch with Fedor Venislavsky, so stay with us. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes.